Greetings, music lovers. I'm Roger Bowie from music.net.nz, and this is A Wrap with Roger. Today I'm speaking with Jazmine Mary, winner of the 2022 Best Independent Debut for their album The Licking of a Tangerine. Hi, Jazmine.
Hello.
This week sees their sophomore album release called Dog, and it's not to be talked about. I'm coming to understand because maybe Jazmine Mary are an enigma, sometimes wrapped up in a mystery, which is not an original thought. But is it true?
Is it true that I'm an enigma? Or is it true that I find it hard to talk about music as a whole thing? I think, yeah, it's very on any certain day, I could tell you in detail a lot about these songs. On one day and another day, it would be completely gone. And I think that I'm reluctant to maybe talk about a song or about music because the whole point is that that's what I'm doing when I write music and when I play. That should be enough. That is the thing. The music is the thing. But I'm not opposed to talking about it.
And
Yeah.
do mind and body connect when you're making music, or is it the disconnect that drives creativity?
I'd like to think they connect, maybe not all the time. I think that depends on how healthy I'm being in my life and in myself, and how honest I'm being, and how many beers I've had, and a lot of different things. But I think the point, for me, any creativity or anything in life is about trying to get closer to myself and trying to get closer to a feeling, and trying to get close to connection, right? Because anything that we talk about that's bad in the world, like grief and loss and sadness and addiction, like always the opposite of that is reaching for connection. So I think that's what I'm trying to do. So I'd like to think that the mind and body are definitely connected in that. Yeah.
In sync at times. They're in sync all of the time. Yeah. I saw in the publicity blurb that making music is not for a living but to survive. If that's true, how does one make a living?
How do I make a living? I mean, I think I didn't write that. I think what the person that wrote that is meaning is that the motivation isn't a job. The motivation is that I don't think I would exist if I didn't do music. I think it saves my life over and over again, and I wouldn't know how to operate in a space without that. Are you asking me how I make money?
Well, you're because I understand you're a performing artist, and
Mm-hmm.
and you're a sound engineer, and you do more than
Yeah.
just make music.
Yeah, a lot of different things. I probably have about 35 jobs at any given time.
Oh, that's cool.
But mostly all in the arts, which is really cool. I think my interests are a lot wider than my skills. But that works out.
That sounds like modesty to me.
Maybe.
The life started in a small town in Victoria called Trafalgar, which is a very grandiose name for a small town. Kind of colonial.
It's like a very colonial name for a small town in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Do grandiose thoughts arise from a town called Trafalgar? Like running away to
New no. No, it's very, very small, insular thoughts. The changes I think I had between like 17 and 20 from leaving there, that the amount of mind bending and opening that I had to do when I left that town was insane. Yeah. Little place with little stories. So there's a lot, and there's still a lot, but there was a lot of learning to be had, and like a lot of opportunity I didn't realize. Like when I grew up there, sort of my understanding of the way that I didn't even know you could be an artist, and a musician was something you could be if you went on a television program and won, if you won a competition, or if you just were. That wasn't like something that was ever even known, that you could just learn music and get good at your craft and do that, and then you are the thing. Like that wasn't a reality. So that was a pretty wonderful thing to learn upon leaving that little place. Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up in a small place too. I mean, it's right. You don't know how big the world can be
Yeah.
until you escape.
Escape. Yeah, the word escape is that's when you know it wasn't great, hey? You didn't say when you leave, you said escape. Yes, when you run away. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But you
But it's true.
escaped to New
But
Zealand of all
there's
places.
beautiful things that come with a small place as well, you know.
That's true too.
Yeah, and I think it really depends on the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's lots of good things happen in small towns, but not very often the kind of music that draws you out and into the big city.
No, not the kind of anything.
Okay, the album's called Dog, and I'm pulling your leg here, but we're not to know why. But you've already half said this. Is it because once the songwriter releases their work, it belongs to everybody?
Yeah. I mean, is it because is that why I won't say, or
Yeah, is that why you
look, I think it's less of a like I feel like I'm creating a bit of a stigma for myself where I like refuse to talk about it. And I just don't want to. I'm just really, really aware of when I talk about the thing that I do that gives me the most life to not be reductive and to like really honor it and respect it. So I think that's what I mean. And I'm so open to like questions and talking about it, but I just want to do that in a way that respects myself. And, you know, in a very, very lighthearted and wonderful way, I do take it very seriously. But yeah, I think I don't have any perspective on what this record sounds like. And people have asked a lot, like, is it different from the last one, or how has it changed? And I don't have any idea. And I feel like that will happen maybe once more people listen to it and tell me. Because I'm far too close to myself to know.
Yeah, and look,
Yeah.
I understand that. I really value that because I have this conversation with a lot of artists about because I'm also going to write a review and interpreting songs, and the fact that an artist stands back and says, "This is my work; it's now yours," gives me a lot of freedom, and that's as a listener, that's also means I can be part of it. You know?
Yeah. So I mean, it's an interesting navigation as well because you create this entire body of work that is your life, and you spend years on it, and then you give it to everyone, and then you want everyone to hear it, so you want to promote it, and you want to have these conversations, but you've kind of already given away so much of yourself.
Yes.
Like you've given everything, and then everyone goes, "Well, can we have a little more?
Yeah.
Can we have a little more about the meaning of the title? Can we have a little more about the information on the images? Can we have some photos of inside your house? Can we just have a little more?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, hang on. Kiss me
Well,
first before you ask for more, you know? Jesus.
One thing that's very obvious in the album is that you're never alone without music.
Ah, yes. That one.
Well, it's just one of many songs. You don't have to talk about it, but it is very clear.
No, I can talk about that one though. Do you know that actually I was very, very, very depressed a while ago. One of the times, you know, it happens. And I was telling a friend, I think I was saying that I was really down or something, and they said to me, "Oh, well, you know, at least you've got music." And they thought they were saying a really like generous and nice thing, and it just pissed me off so much that they said that it felt. And I got so angry, and I started writing that song really passive aggressively as a joke, and then it actually just came out this really beautiful, earnest song, and it actually was really true and lovely, which is quite nice.
But there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that on the album. Yeah, but it's the one song that doesn't need any interpretation. It is what it is. It says what it says. It's a beautiful song. You recorded a lot of it down in Sublime. I fronted up to Sublime in January and just announced and introduced myself to Steve and Fenella, and the atmosphere down there is indeed sublime. But my wife and my dog couldn't get out of the car because their dogs are a little bit feral.
Yeah, they are. They're great.
They don't like city slickers.
No, they don't. No, very comfortable. It's a really beautiful place out there. Really beautiful.
And you made great sound. Is the music on the albums also I will describe as sublime, and virtually the same musicians, as I understand, that played on the Licking of a Tangerine. Thus the emergence perhaps of a Jazmine Mary sound. Is that a thing?
As what a thing, sorry?
A Jazmine Mary sound?
I mean, I guess so. I mean, again, it hard to have perspective. Like, I mean, I guess if I'm in it, then I'm sure that's what it is, you know. And then when you get a bunch of musicians in a room collaborating on a thing, yeah, they're all gonna, no matter in what, how much, they're all gonna contribute to that sound as well. So, you know, acknowledging that, like that my band are a really big part of that, at any given time, or anyone that collaborates in that is contributing, you know.
That's my next question, because the music, what what appeals to me about your music is that it is sometimes a disconnect. It's the juxtaposition of music and sound, and it's I mean, your voice is also an instrument, and when you start to get comfortable in the middle of a song, something something arises, like a burst of jazz, like you're walking past an open door of a restaurant, and out it pops from nowhere. And I wonder, given your competency in sound engineering and performance, etc., as well. Sorry, do you imagine all these songs when you write them, or do the musicians actually contribute to how it ends up?
Both. So four of the songs on this record were produced by Peter Adele, who is my keys player.
Yes.
So that's Seagull, You're Never Alone If You've Got Music, Rodeo, and Salt Lake Desert. And we worked on those together, and we had a bit more of a luxury of time. So we were doing some of those, like I always write the sort of chords and lyrics and the bones of the song, if you will, and the feeling of the song, and that gets really, really solid. And then from there I go, what arrangement of horns, or what how can we add another thing that gives it what it needs. And that might be like, if the movement of the lyrics are really dark and it's really heavy, I'm like, what do I need in this song to make that a little lighter so that I can digest it? Because for me, it's all about, like, musically and emotionally, like, transforming those feelings. Because it's magic, to start from absolutely nothing and build this thing, and then you just have, like, I still don't really understand it. But as far as, like, collaboration and who writes what, I think it changes every time.
Yeah.
So sometimes, like, there's times where I'll write the melodies for the horns or the strings and take it to the band. There's other times where Dave will improvise things, and then we'll choose one. I think one of the songs on this record, Only Yellow, all the really beautiful saxophone, it's like a call and response all the way through that song. And that's just Peter improvising, and I love that. And so we went through and did about 6, and then I went home to mix it, and just chose the ones that resonated the most, really. And then I produced and mixed half this record, which is the first time that I've done that with the first time mixing my own record, which was challenging, but yeah, like a nice kind of control and understanding there, for sure.
Cool. Well, it works.
I hope so.
Works. And as I said, at the moment we might try to drift off into a comfortable space. Something discordant happens, and we pay attention again. It's great.
Well, it's very insightful into how I feel, isn't it? Just as I start to walk down, something jumps out.
But that's life, isn't it? Isn't that life?
It is, isn't it lovely?
Yes, isn't it lovely? Do you know anything about Maslow's hierarchy of human needs?
Mm-mm.
You don't? Oh, okay. It's all about, you should look it up. It's all about various life stages, but the peak of Maslow's hierarchy of human needs is self-actualization. And self-actualization, I work with a doctor who talks about whole person health, and how you have to have all the 4 pillars of health in sync, being physical, emotional, psychological, and well, when the theory is that the 4 pillars of health, if they're all aligned, then you're in a position to be the best you could possibly be in self-actualization. Whereas when I talk to Paul McClaney, he says he self-actualizes, his moment is every time he's playing live. My question really is that something you sense when you're playing live as well?
What word did you use? That he self-actualizes when he plays live?
Yes, correct.
Mm.
It's like a pinnacle, a peak.
Yeah, I think playing live, I feel the most honest and the most if it is a good performance and a healthy performance and all the things are right, and there's so many things to go right in that, the people in the room, the space, how your day was, all of those things, but then I am the most connected that I ever am to myself and to the world.
Yes.
Yeah, and there can be like a really crazy disappearing in that, I think.
And one thing, as an observer, as a concert goer, it's very clear when from my perspective, I can see it happening in the audio and in the artist really, arriving at somewhere that only the music can take them.
Yeah, there's not many things that can really do well. I don't know about other people, but there's not many things that can really get me in that space. So it is quite amazing when it happens.
Which leads me to the upcoming tour. Are the musicians who play on Dog the same ones on the album?
On the tour? So the full band shows is going to be, I have a new drummer, which is Arahi.
Really? Cool.
Yeah, who's great. And
you've got another band with is that the same?
Yeah, Pony Baby.
Pony Baby.
Yeah. Yeah, so Arahi is on the drums, Dave Kahn and Peter Adele on the record, and they'll be playing in the touring band. And then Louisa Nicklin has recently joined my band, which is really, really exciting. So she'll be playing saxophone and guitar and doing some singing and some other stuff. So that'd be great.
Okay, so it's about a wrap. I think I need to wrap this up. We're getting near the end of our time. Jazmine Mary's new album, Dog, is released this Friday. And we're not allowed to talk about it, but I get to write about it. And spoiler alert, it's another little masterpiece. And Jazmine Mary are touring in July and appearing July the 8th at the Hollywood Avondale. And I'll be there. And I remember seeing Aldous Harding there a few years ago. It was like a spiritual moment. It was an epiphany where everyone just goes, wow, what just happened? And folks, you need to get along to that gig, because I reckon that's going to be the same feeling when Jazmine Mary complete their set.
It's very generous thing to say.
Lovely to talk to you. And
lovely to talk to you too.
All the best with the album, and we'll see you in July in Auckland.
Thank you. See you soon.
Yes.